Welcome back to part 2 with Alexis Boyett and myself here on Leading Our Own Way. This is where it's going to get real, because in part 1 we explored the characters we play in our minds and the inner critics we battle. Now, we're diving into the deep end. Childhood trauma, the relentless search for self-worth, and the toxic relationship that nearly broke her. But here's the thing about Alexis. She didn't just survive, she transformed. From health crisis to breaking family patterns, she's living proof that you can choose a different path. This conversation gets raw, it's vulnerable, and incredibly powerful. If you've ever felt stuck in someone else's story, this is your wake-up call. Let's jump right back in with Alexis Boyett on Leading Our Own Way. Before we dive in, I want to give a big, massive shout out to our now new proud sponsor, Eshu Skincare, a brand that truly aligns with Leading Our Own Way. This Australian-born company is dedicated to keeping skincare simple, effective, and straightforward. They've made waves in the US, even landed in Macy's and over 300 stores, and now they're back with a renewed focus on healthy skin and real results. If you want authentic skincare that fits your lifestyle, check them out in the show notes. Thanks to Eshu Skincare for supporting real stories and mental fitness on Leading Our Own Way. And if you're interested in sponsoring like Eshu Skincare, drop us a message. We'd love to connect. Beautiful mindset.
It's not a chore for me.
Yeah, it's a beautiful mindset, and it's not come easy to get to that point. And I do think a lot of people need to hear that mindset, because there's quite honestly, I've had a lot of guests and not many have that kind of mindset with themselves. A lot of them are disciplined, a lot of them are motivated, a lot of them shut things out. Sometimes I'm one of those people. I went through a period of time where I completely got rid of sugar because I felt the impacts on my mind and body, where I was going with pleasure eating with some of the things I went through, etc. But for you that hasn't come easy. You've just listed quite a couple of things. And I think it's important that we probably paint that picture for the viewers and for the listeners to how you got there and where that stemmed from. Let's get right to the root of where this Alexis has come apparent in the present day. Let's go back to your childhood then. You were born in Florida. If I was your friend growing up, what would I have seen in your house? What would have I seen in your childhood, and who Alexis would have been back then?
Oh, well, first of all, you probably wouldn't have been my friend because I had no friends.
Oh.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
It's no, it's good.
Okay, it's good.
No, it's fine.
All right. I felt sad there for a second, though.
It's good.
I did. You got me.
Don't. Yeah, no, don't. It not having friends has taught me how to be alone and how to, and that wasn't a good thing in middle school and elementary school, but it also wasn't a bad thing because I didn't have anybody I was trying to impress because nobody cared. Nobody, I was the least impressive. You know what I mean? Like, nobody gave a crap about me. And I mean, and here's the thing. I come from a family who they don't love themselves. I come from a family who self-sabotages their happiness and who only communicates and, for the most part, connects through trauma. Okay. I come from a very traumatized family. And so for me growing up, if I was trying to express myself emotionally, that wasn't allowed, because emotions were danger because it made you feel out of control and you just needed to suck it up and deal with it. And as a Cancer sun, I'm a very emotional person. And so I was the first person in my family to really just be like, I'm emotional, and have it been shut down, and talk about, being bullied and not having friends. Here we go. Okay. So I was popular in elementary school until 5th grade. And what happened in 5th grade, my grandmother was abused by her father. And because of that abuse, my grandmother wanted to make sure that her daughters and her granddaughters were not prey for more abuse. So when I was a child, my grandmother put some weight on me when I was like 9 years old. I gained 20 pounds within 2 months as a child. And when I went back to school, because I was used to being the popular girl at school, everybody loved me, it was so cute. And then I went back to school and I was fat and I had a bowl cut. And I remember the little boyfriend that I had dated, we were on the playground And I asked him why he wasn't talking to me, because like he was my school boyfriend. And I was like, why aren't you talking to me? And he yelled from across the playground. Everybody heard it, because you got fat.
Oh,
And yeah, no, it's fine.
but at
It's
the
fine. It
time it
builds
wasn't
character.
fine.
No, I was very sad. But also, it was the first time I realized, oh, wait, like sweets can make you fat and then people won't like you.
Yeah.
And I struggled with my weight a long time after that, because nobody in my family had a healthy relationship with food, with themselves. So I had no idea how to lose weight. I didn't know how to exercise. I didn't know anything, you know?
Yeah.
So that turned into me crash dieting, but it also turned into me developing this desire to be accepted and to feel heard and valued, because I didn't as a child. And so how that played out is, through my teenage years, I sought external validation, and I was trying to feel loved and seen and appreciated and valued and heard, because I didn't in any way, not in school, not with teachers, not with my family. And I always felt alone, and I was so sad. I was so sad. And as a young adult, you know, I was like trying to discover myself through relationships. And if I could have someone choose me, if I could just have one person understand and love me, then I'll be worthy. You know, then I'll have a good relationship with myself. If I can convince one person, then that'll be fine. Which made me get into relationships with people where I was the giver and they were the taker. Because if I could convince them that they were worthy, or if I could convince them to love me right, or treat me right, or hear me, or support me, then that would mean that I was valuable.
Mm.
And that played out into my career, you know, with people pleasing, and with getting into business relationships with people who betrayed me, and, you know, trusting people's words over their actions. And honestly, Andrew, it was a lot of heartbreak. I had to put myself in situations and relationships with family, friends, business associates, romantic partners, where I was continually disappointed. I was continually not chosen, no matter how much I gave, no matter how pretty I became, no matter how much weight I lost, no matter what I did, no matter how successful I became, nothing was ever good enough. And I realized this year at 34, when I was 34 years old, and last year, at the end of last year, but at the beginning of this year, it took me 34 years, but you know, obviously we don't count childhood, so maybe 24 years. It took me 24 years to get to this point where I was so broken. It was the rock bottom, where I was like, why is no one choosing me? Like, why? Like, how come I can become this awesome person who's so beautiful and talented and funny and great and charming, and who gives so much, and still not be chosen? And it was reaching that point where I had become who I thought I needed to be in order to deserve the love that I felt like I always deserved, and not getting that, to realize that I had always been enough. I had always been worthy of everything that I ever wanted. I had always been worthy of the love and mutual reciprocation and praise that I had always wanted. And all of that pain was trying to show me, stop looking outside of yourself for the love and the validation that you're seeking, because nobody is ever going to be able to give that to you, because the love and the validation you're seeking needs to come from you. It needs to come from that little girl who was called fat on the playground. It needs to come from the little girl who wasn't heard and seen by her family. It needs to come from you. And it took me a year of sitting in loneliness and really learning how to communicate with that part of myself, really changing the way that I communicated with myself when I had eaten a brownie sundae, changing the way I had communicated with myself whenever I was trying to seek, you know, new relationships, whenever I had just gotten out of a breakup, to try and soothe my feeling of not being desired instead of self-sabotaging by throwing myself into more situations where, of course, the universe is going to continue to reflect more people who aren't choosing me, or maybe they're choosing me, but I know that they're not what I want, and by me choosing them, it would only be me perpetuating a cycle of being unhappy and self-sabotaging myself. So I got celibate. I stopped dating. I put all of my energy into really figuring out how to not respond from my character, but how to respond from the version of me that I've always dreamed of becoming, and choosing that version of me instead. How would she respond? What sort of relationships would she entertain? And setting boundaries and not entertaining anything or anyone, not any situations, not any circumstances that didn't meet that. And it changed my life. It changed the relationships that I was, attracting into my life, the people that I was attracting into my life. And it made me so strong to where I stopped feeling guilty for not choosing to put myself through situations and into relationships that were going to cause me pain.
Yeah. So since that change then, what type of people did you used to attract versus the type of people that come into your life now?
Andrew, we call this Captain Save-A-Ho or Captain Save-A-Bro. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I call it. I was attracting people and experiences that needed me to be the strong one, that needed me to be the consistent one, that needed me to be the giver, that needed me to save them, that needed me to help them and be their coach and their guide. And there was a part of me that felt validated in being needed, that felt like I was worthy if I was being needed. Whereas now, because I validated myself and I don't need to feel needed, I don't attract those types of people. I attract people who don't need saving, who don't need me in their life, who are complete and whole in their own right, and who come to me and are like, wow, what you're doing is amazing. What you're doing is incredible. I also do these things. I regulate my nervous system. I'm whole and complete. And how can we build something together? Now, at this point in time, I haven't attracted my equal yet in regards to a romantic relationship, but I've had a lot of tests in the meantime of people who vibrated at my past frequency. Because here's the thing, even though I had decided that this was the frequency I was going to vibrate at, and that I was going to operate from my higher self rather than from, my character, when I made that decision, the universe, God, whatever you choose to call it, the algorithm was like, okay, let's actually see if she is gonna be who she says she wants to be. And so I was delivered all these sorts of tests, business partners, romantic relationships that were vibrating from my past. Again, Captain Save-A-Ho, Captain Save-A-Bro. And I was like, nope, I'm not. I had exes come back into my life from like 5 years ago, like all kinds of crazy shit. And they were just like, hey, like, all right, do you want to still be this? Do you want to still have the same from the past? Do you want some more? And I was like, nope. And similarly, dating apps, things like that. Nope. Like I'm like, I'm not going to keep doing that. I did that in the past. It didn't work out. I'm not going to repeat any of those patterns. Yeah. And it's been amazing. Like I have such strong boundaries now where I'm like, no, we're not going to give any energy to anything that we don't want, because we know what we do want, and we're not going to show any energy into those things because it's not going to help us.
So what does Alexis want now then?
Alexis is finally ready to accept all of the goodness and all of the love and all of the friendships and business collaborations that she deserves. And she's ready to receive equal reciprocity. And I say that because I want to reiterate, she's ready to receive. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to accomplish anything. I don't need to force anything. I don't need to put myself out there unless it feels in alignment. I just need to be in a state of receiving and take aligned action. And so I'm just ready for all the work that I've done on the inner part of me to be reflected in my external reality. And it's already been happening.
Amazing.
Like just even with this podcast interview, it's been happening. So yeah, it feels really good to be in this state.
I'm so glad you feel aligned to be here with me as well. That's amazing. So thank you. Going back to your grandmother, that sounded like a very pivotal part of where your life's tend to change a little bit. Have you ever had I mean, first of all, was she a role model in your life at that point? Even though, because it was obviously that was quite normalized. You didn't look at her as a bad person. You were just being a child or doing what you were given and doing and going back to school, etc. Did you ever later have a conversation? I mean, I don't know if she's still alive. I don't know if she lasted.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
still
she's still
alive.
alive. So have you ever had that conversation with her about what? Sorry.
Uh, no. Yeah, no. I already know what you're gonna ask.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Um, I have definitely tried to have conversations with my family members about my my personal trauma and things that I experienced. There is no point, and I say this to anybody who has experience like traumatic experiences from their childhood and feels like I really want to communicate this now. That I thought if I became the best communicator, I thought that if I regulated my nervous system and I learned the right words to use and I learned how to communicate healthily, that eventually my family would hear me. I thought, if I did all these things, that eventually I'd be able to have a healthy relationship with them and they'd be able to understand. And what I realized through attempts in my late 20s, but also just peace with it now, that they're never going to be able to, because people who don't even communicate and understand themselves are never going to be able to hear you. I don't care how good of a communicator you are or how much psychology you've dived into or anything like that. They're never going to be able to hear you, because people who don't hear themselves can only hear shame.
Mm.
So if you try to say, hey, this happened to me as a kid and I want to talk about it, they're going to hear, hey, I have a problem with you. You didn't raise me well.
Yeah.
And you're a terrible person. They're not going to hear you have feelings and you have emotions. And I mean, I just tried to communicate with my mother earlier this year about something that happened. And again, all it led to was an attack, and it didn't help our relationship at all. And I have learned that I don't need to have necessarily a good relationship with my family in order to respect where they're at and love them. I just choose how much time I spend with them and what parts of my life I want to share with
Sure.
them. And it's not anything bad about my family. I'm so grateful for all of my trauma. I'm grateful for the weight that I gained as a child. I'm grateful that my family couldn't hear me as a kid, because I had the perfect amount of trauma to become who I am today. And if I wouldn't have had all of that friction, all of that difficulty as a child, if I wouldn't have had all of that, I wouldn't have the empathy. I wouldn't have the passion for learning how to communicate and how to hold space for people. I wouldn't be who I am today without all of that. And so if we're thinking of life as being a video game, and we're thinking that my spirit knew what my character came here to do, which was to help people and to make this positive impact, then we also know that my soul chose the family that I was brought into in order to be the catalyst that would eventually lead me to becoming who I am today.
Yeah.
So how could I ever be upset? They can only meet me at the level to which my character chose they could meet me. And if we're looking at life as a game, then why would I be upset if I'm the one who chose? I chose the level of hard that I would play in this lifetime. And other people's levels are different. Other people's characters are on different journeys. And I used to compare myself to that. And I used to be like, oh, I never knew my father. And I used to be like, why didn't I have a good relationship with my family? And why didn't my family go on vacations and have healthy communication? And I used to think like that. Not anymore. Because I'm like, I'm so grateful. I'm so glad that I came from that family, because it's given me this beautiful outlook on life and this ability to connect with people from all walks of life. And you know what? If I wouldn't have gained 20 pounds at 10 years old, just knowing the little popular girl I was, I probably would have totally turned into a Regina George. I would have been such a bitch. Like, I would have been such a bitch. And so I'm really grateful that I wasn't popular, because I'll tell you what, being tubby builds character.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, look, you wouldn't have this mindset, and you wouldn't be doing what you love doing, and you certainly probably wouldn't be traveling. You wouldn't have left your little town or wherever in Florida. You wouldn't be traveling the world. What you're doing, so amazing stuff. You've just mentioned there about your father. You didn't have a relationship with your father,
My father is a drug lord.
like a big drug lord,
Yeah, 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 like an actual drug lord.
like the movies.
um, like the movies. Yeah,
Wow.
no, my dad's a drug lord. So I met him when I was around 10. Um, Again, my father's side of the family, I come from a very traumatized lineage on both my mom's side and my dad's side for different reasons. Um, and yeah, my mom had me at 19. He used to abuse her. I used to be like, why don't, I have a great stepdad, but my sister has her own relationship with him. She has her own trauma. But yeah, no, I mean, I do not come from when you would if you like I don't know, when people meet me, they're like, how in the hell? How in the hell did you come from
Yeah.
there? And I was like, that's exactly what my character needed. I needed to come in here and rewrite everything from my family lineage on both sides. And yeah, my dad's a drug lord. He has his trauma with his family, every everything always starts from childhood, and I've had spiritual experiences where I've connected with my masculine energy, my father's energy, and I don't know him, but I've connected with it. And I had this voice come through, and it was like, I'm mad at you because you got the childhood that I never had. And I realized that by me embodying my inner child as an adult and choosing to play and choosing to have this relationship with myself, that it heals all of the wounds that my family have, because all of it starts in childhood,
Yeah.
and I don't choose to be a victim of circumstance. I choose to be the hero who rose above, her difficult obstacles. And I'm grateful for my family and I'm grateful for their trauma because it gave me something to ascend
Yeah.
from.
Yeah. Have you spoken to when was the last time you spoke to him then?
Oh no, I
Oh,
haven't.
you
Like
never.
when I was 10, I said, no, 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 yeah, not. I've never had a conversation with him.
Has he ever tried to reach you?
Yes. Yes, and I called my mother and I gave him his phone number. And then I cried and then I never thought about it again.
Oh.
Yeah, he definitely has, but again, what would be the point? So, for example, a lot of people put emphasis on like family,
Hmm.
right? I don't, because I believe that the family that you're born into, they're meant to teach you a specific curriculum, if you will, that helps you decide what your obstacles and your goals will be as an adult. And my family's supportive in some ways, and in every way that they can be. But I believe that my family is a part of my lore, but that's about it. Like my family is that, they're my lore. Um, they're not anything more than that. I don't have this attachment to like, oh, I really wish that I had a strong father figure because again, I wouldn't be who I am if I had a strong father figure. Like I had a pretty cool stepdad. He was fine. He did a good job, and my sperm donor, he gave me my nose and he definitely gave me some like DNA to rewrite, but I mean, that's about it. I don't have any like drug addictions or like anything like, you know, I know people who have, alcoholic parents and are like, oh, I'm an alcoholic because my parents were alcoholics. I'm like, oh, that's
Yeah.
bullshit. I'm
Mm.
like, that's bullshit. I'm like, if I was exactly who my parents were or even had their traits, I'd be a completely different person. You would not know. Like, I am the exact opposite of my
Mm.
family. I took the good bits and then I completely ran away from all the bad bits. And swim upstream, man. Swim upstream. If you have a family that you're not proud of, or like parents or circumstances that you come from that are rough on the other side of the tracks, like mine, you know, swim
Mm.
upstream. Like, It's not your fault if you're fucked up. It's your fault if you stay
That's
fucked
right.
up. And we all have the same resources, the same, it's really a matter of who do you want what do you want your character to experience in this lifetime? And what are you going to use from your past in order to make a brighter future? And just leave it at that, because the longer you stay in victim mode, the longer you stay as an NPC, which is a non-playable character, which can only respond from its lived experiences. But if you step into player one, if you step into God mode, anything is possible. There's plenty of incredible people who came from less than ideal
Yeah.
circumstances.
Yeah, agreed. And well, I want to continue the journey of you leaving high school, because I know you went on a bit of a mission straight after high school. But before, when we spoke last time, I wrote a note about the analogy, the scenario that you shared with me about the zoom out of your life metaphor. Can you? I wrote a note to get you to explain that, because that was phenomenal.
Yeah. Ooh, zooming out of your
It
life.
was like the zoom out of your life it was like the game character scenario analogy. And do you
Yeah.
remember what I'm referring to?
I mean, it probably falls into the character
Oh, it
philosophy a
probably
little
does. Yeah,
bit,
yeah. It was.
but
I think it was. I can't
it,
remember how you explained it, but remember I wrote the word zoom out. So you're like, can
yeah, zoom out. So like if, for example, like if you're going to be triggered, so or if you're going to be activated in some way. Let me give you a for
yeah,
instance. That'll
yeah,
be better. So, for example, when I first started diving down this whole I'm celibate, I'm only going to wait until my true equal comes into play. And I'm not going to say Prince Charming, because I am my own Prince Charming. And and I have Patrick. And I
parrot.
but like let's say, yeah, Patrick. So let's say someone comes into my life and they start triggering, oh crap, I've been in this situation before and I've been doing all this work. Why am I still attracting like people that remind me of my ex? Why am I still Captain Save-A-Broing? Like, why am I still attracting these circumstances or these people? Why me? Why me? Why me? Instead of allowing my character to get stuck in this, oh, but wait, we've been trying so hard and, we're not getting any results. So what is the point in us trying? Instead of thinking that way, I can zoom out and I can say, okay, obviously the algorithm still needs some time to catch up. In the past, we would have dated this person. In the past, we would have been like, but we do like this, this, and this about them. So maybe that's good enough. They have nice hair. And so, like, they have potential. Like, like, we're going to just invest and we're going to just see where it goes. In the past, I would have done that. Instead, I'm going to just be upfront with this person and say, hey, you're not him. Like, I appreciate you, we can like be friends, we can be cool, but you're not him, and I'm not going to pour energy into you because I know exactly what I want and you're not it. And instead of feeling guilty about that, I'm just going to be upfront and say it, because hopefully that inspires this person to also do the same moving forward with the people that they're dating. Be intentional, and I can zoom out of that situation and say, this isn't me continuing to attract the past. There's nothing wrong that I'm doing. This is just me getting the opportunity to respond differently and practice this new awareness that I have around these circumstances and these people. This is just the opportunity for me to flex this new muscle that I haven't used before, which is stepping into player one, stepping into God mode.
Yeah.
Okay, I have this business partner who is emotionally manipulating me and holding a contract over my head, and I don't like the way that it feels. In the past, maybe I would have, just continued to deal with it because I want to have a business partner. In the past, maybe I would have just wait until like it really bit me in the ass. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look into the legal logistics of this. I'm going to read through the contract. I'm going to have AI double check everything. I'm going to run all of the chat transcripts and everything, and I'm going to see what legal ability I have to get out of this contract with this person, and then I'm going to cut ties. I'm not going to feel guilty about it. I'm going to cut ties. This person showed me what I needed to see. I'm going to let it go, and that's what I did for the first time in my life, because I've been burnt before in the past with business, but I didn't take legal action. I was just like sad about it, and I just like let it go. But this time I was like, okay, in the past, Alexis has been too afraid that she didn't know, like she didn't have what it took to take legal action. She was worried that she wasn't smart enough or she couldn't do it right. But player one knows that she's given the resources. She can figure this out. She's smart. She's capable. And so she did do the research, and she found out, you know what? Actually, I can get out of this contract with this person. I could block them and never speak to them again. And that's exactly what she did. So I am choosing to flex this new muscle and show up differently by zooming out of the situation and by responding from this place of I am empowered, I am confident, I know what I want, I know what I don't want, and I don't feel guilty about it. And I'm allowing that masculine energy, the take control energy, to come through for the first time in my life, while also balancing the feminine energy of I'm also allowed to receive. I'm also allowed to have people take care of me and to do nice things for me. And I don't have to think that it's, them trying to get control over me or manipulate me, because I trust myself enough to be able to discern that I'll know the difference.
Wow. Powerful. Very powerful. Yeah, it's.
Yay.
I probably wouldn't. The old Andy probably wouldn't have reacted like what you've just said either when difficult conversations or scenarios came my way with my workplace bullying. I was swallowed up big time into the hole. Yeah. Wow. So, was there a point then, going back to before we brought that? Or was there a point when there definitely was a point, that's very crystal clear, but what point in your life did you think, fuck, I don't want to end up then like my family? Just taking a very quick break to thank our sponsor, Eshu Skincare. If you haven't heard of them, Eshu Skincare started right here in Australia, using Australian ingredients to make skincare straightforward and accessible, especially for men who want results without the fuss. Their journey took them all the way to the US, where they were featured in Macy's and over 300 stores. Now they're back with a fresh approach, focusing on healthy skin and authenticity for everyone. I'm proud to have Eshu Skincare as a sponsor on Leading Our Own Way. See the show notes for their website and to see how you can keep your skin healthy and confident. And if you're interested in sponsoring like Eshu Skincare, drop us a message. We'd love to hear from you. Now, right back to the episode.
So actually, the first time it happened was when I was 18. I was in a dark spot after high school. I felt like a failure. I was smoking weed all the time. I had no ambition. I mean, I was working the shittiest jobs because I didn't feel smart enough to do anything else. I was like a telemarketer. I was like selling air conditioning tune-ups, and you don't even know what that is.
I can't even imagine, whatever it is, I can't imagine you doing it.
Yeah, I was working at Sonic. I was on roller skates. There was all kinds of jobs,
Roller
okay?
skates.
And I hated working. I hated it. I hated having a boss, but I didn't feel smart enough to do anything else. I didn't know who I was. I had this boyfriend who worked for his dad at a cemetery. It was a whole situation. Anyway, it was bad. I was overweight. I was just smoking weed and eating mini muffins all the time. It was not a great look for me. And also, all my friends that were pretty or accomplished in some way, I hated them. Like, they were my friends, but I hated them. And I didn't like the way that I felt. And I was in this really dark place. And all of a sudden, I kid you not, Andy, one overnight, I had this dream. And in this dream, this voice, this angel, this guide, whatever you want to call it, came to me. And it said, if you do not change the course of your life right now, you are going to end up just like your family. And the next morning, I woke up and I was like, oh shit. I was like, okay, go time. I stopped smoking weed overnight. I started, slim fast because I didn't know how to eat healthy. So I started like slim fast. I started going to the gym. I told my boyfriend, I want more out of my life. If you don't want more out of your life, that's fine, but we're not going to be together. And we had been together for like 2 years. I'm naturally like a dark blonde and my hair was black at the time. I cut all my hair off. I went back blonde, and I decided to start manifesting what it was that I wanted in my life. And because, and this is an advantage that many women have, I want to say, that men don't. And it's something that I was taught. So my grandmother was always like, you need to find a rich husband. You need to find a rich husband. You need to find a rich husband. Like, my grandmother would have sold me off to the highest bidder at like 12 if she could, like 1000%, 1000%. I would have, like, she used to force me to go on dates with boys. It was a whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing. Yeah. But, so I thought to myself, okay, in order for me to be able to get this space to really figure out who I am and what I want, I need to be financially provided for. Like I don't want to work these shitty jobs. I need some time, you know? And I think all freaking kids should have some time between high school and getting a job to figure out who they are and what they want without having to worry about paying for things. I do firmly believe in that. You know, we as a society we should support young adults to give them some
Yeah.
breathing room, to not have to freaking hustle, you know? And so any because I mean, yeah, I might have learned certain skills during that time as a telemarketer and things like that, but I knew I needed some breathing room. So I decided, okay, I'm going to start taking care of myself. And I've decided that what I want is I want to be in a relationship with someone because that's what I knew as relationships. And I want to be financially taken care of. And I want to just have time and space to do what I need to do to figure out who I am. And I kid you not, within 6 months, maybe. So I had broken up with my boyfriend at the time. I moved in with my friend Aubriana, who had a toddler. We were both 19 years old, okay? And I was a receptionist at a railroad signal company. I had just freaking left my boyfriend of 2 years because I had been in a relationship with him since I was like 17. And I wasn't on dating. There was no dating apps back then. I was just hanging out with friends. I was working. I was trying to figure out my stuff, you know, and I met someone. And it wasn't because I was seeking. It just happened naturally. And his name was Brian. And Brian was 6 years older than me. So I was 20 at the time. He was 26. And he was not an entrepreneur. He was a engineer. He was a computer engineer. So he was a total geek. And yeah, basically, he was like, listen, I just got divorced. He was 26 and he had gotten married
Wow.
young. Yeah, Oklahoma. And he was like, and I just want a girlfriend who literally will just take care of things. He's like, I have plenty of money. Yeah. And he was like, I have plenty of money. Like the first thing he ever bought me was a bed. So that way he could stay over and I could not have a twin mattress. And he didn't have that much money. It's not like he was loaded, but he made like 100K, which was so much for me as a 20-year-old. And he's like, if you just take care of the house and you take care of my dog and you know, do the laundry and you cook and you clean and you're a good girlfriend, he's like, I'll financially take care of you. And I was like, yes, let's do that. Let's do that. And I did. And we were together for 7 years and we were great together. And he gave me the time and space that I needed to pursue modeling and acting, to build my first, you know, character entertainment business. You know, Brian and I were really great together. Like he was healthy for me. We had a very healthy relationship. He taught me how to communicate. He taught me how to not be so reactive. You know, I accredit a lot of my growth in my early 20s to his support. He was my guardian angel. He was the first example of a healthy relationship that I had ever seen or had. And equally, I inspired Brian. You know, I took care of him. I made sure he was nurtured. I encouraged him. He has a very successful internet business in Hawaii now. He's
Are you friends?
remarried. I've like made, yeah, of course we
Wow.
are. We had so at 27 when I had launched my nationwide company, I was like we had this really good conversation and he was like, you know, I was 27 at the time, which was very different than when I was 20. And he was 30 something. And I just said, you know, like, what do you want out of your life? Like, where is it going now? Because obviously, where we had been when we were younger and where we were at that point were very different. And he was like, yeah, I think I just want to stay in Hawaii, maybe settle down, have some kids. And I was like, Brian, I've reached this point where I have never been out on my own. I have never financially supported myself. And I was like, and I really want to travel the world. And I need to know that I can do it. Like, I need to know that I can make it on my own. I need to know that I am capable and that I need to make myself proud. And he was like, I absolutely understand that that is what you need to do and where you're headed. And he's like, and that's amazing. And I want you to be able to do that. And I was like, and I want you to be able to settle down in Hawaii and have a family and live that life. And he's like, yeah. And it was honestly the most beautiful breakup that it could. Obviously, there were tears and sadness, but you know, we ended up amicably breaking up. I remember we were helping each other swipe on dating apps, and I was like, "No, you can't date her. She looks too much like your mom." And he was like, "No, she doesn't."
Oh my lord.
And yeah, we had a great breakup and he was like super supportive and it our relationship turned from lovers to friends to acquaintances to eventually memories. A couple years ago I saw the dog that I helped raise. She passed and so I got to say goodbye to her before she
Mm.
died and I also got to, have dinner with his new wife and I'm pretty sure he has a kid now,
And she was
but
all right with you?
it was a beautiful.
Oh,
Absolutely. It was a beautiful representation of how you can honor a relationship and the chapters and like what it gives to you and its meaning and its purpose and its
yeah.
value without it ending in catastrophe. Like, oh no, we didn't end up together forever. And me and Brian were engaged. I should add that in. Like we were engaged and neither one of us saw it as a failed
Yeah.
relationship. We saw it for the relationship that was meant to help us become who
Part of
we
the journey.
were.
Yeah.
And wherever that next step, yeah, wherever that next journey would lead. And I dedicated my first book to him. Like we will always support each other from afar, even if we're not in contact. And I think that's one of the most beautiful dynamics two souls can have.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we come back to where we started at the beginning of the episode, I feel like there's, from what I know of your journey, and obviously we didn't go into depth, but there's two, and you've mentioned it before. Let's just touch on the illness that you went through, and the quick troll of how it, when the next partner that you met did that horrible thing online with you. You mentioned towards the beginning of it and how that kind of affected you and what you learned from that. So let's start with the illness that you went through. It wasn't even that long ago, was it? What was 5 years ago? Was it, give or take?
Four
4
four
years ago.
years
Yeah.
ago, yeah. So when me and Brian first got together, I was just trying to people please. I wanted Brian to be happy with me. He was financially supporting me, and I had always hated my breasts because I was overweight as a kid. So whenever I started losing weight, my breast tissue didn't retract, and I had stretch marks. So I hated them. Like I really did not like my breasts, and at the time I was anorexic and I went in for a consult and they said, if we give you a breast lift, it's going to make you an A cup. And I was like, man, I don't want to pay $10,000 to be flat chested. And Brian was like, well, you should just get, he was a video gamer. So he was like, you should just get implants, the bigger, the better. And I was like, I don't know if I want implants. And he was like, you should do it. And him and the doctor convinced me that implants were going to make me more confident. And so I got very large breast implants. I was a D cup, so I went from a B to a D,
Jeez.
and I hated them.
D.
I
Oh
hated
my
them.
lord.
Yeah, and I hated them. Like, I hated my breasts. They did. I had incredible side boob, and they looked good in clothes, but I hated them. Like, I hated the way having breast implants made me feel. I hated the way that people would look at my boobs before they looked at me. I was not a fan. And so 10 years go by and all of a sudden I'm like working out really hard. I'm really proud of like how hot I look and like I feel really pretty. Like for the first time in my life, I feel like I've peaked. We're not going outside. Come here. Come here. Sorry, the dog again.
He's done well.
And it's like, it is lunch, it is dinner time. He says, what in the hell? And so, yes, so I'm doing great. And all of a sudden, all that stress happens. I get the shingles, all the madness happens in COVID. And all of a sudden, like my immune system is shot. Like I go from like working out like crazy, being so healthy, thinking I'm in my peak, to my immune system, shingles, like my vision starts going out, my hair starts falling out. Like it goes way beyond anything. And I'm like, what is happening? And lo and behold, after some testing and figuring it out, I have breast implant illness, which is now officially recognized by the FDA.
Wow.
And it's basically because they market silicone implants as healthy, but there's over 200 harmful chemicals in them, including formaldehyde, resin, and epoxy. And the breast implants that they put inside your body almost nearly expire the same time that they put them in. But it's funny because they expire if they're on the shelf, but not in your body, which doesn't
No.
make any sense. And no. And your immune system will try and break down any foreign object that's in your body over time. So even though my breast implants never ruptured, they're doing autopsies on women who have had breast implants, and they're finding all of those 200 harmful chemicals in every tissue in their body.
Is that why you do the drainage? What did you say before?
Lymphatic drainage.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you do that? I wanted to ask.
It helps. Oh, YouTube. Just YouTube lymphatic drainage. Like it's just basically massaging and then tapping on certain parts of your body and then it does
Oh,
it because your lymphatic system
yeah,
responds.
wow.
Yeah,
Didn't
it's
know
super
that.
simple. Um and so I had my implants taken out. I had a 4-hour surgery. And after I had them taken out, my body went through detox. I had such severe detox symptoms. I'm still detoxing, but for about a year and a half, I couldn't even sweat. I couldn't even sweat because if I sweat, then my vision would start going out, my hair would start falling out. I had all these things start happening again because my body was in overload of
Hmm.
toxicity. And I had insomnia for a year and a half from it. And now I'm good. Like I'm sleeping well, I'm going to the gym, I'm exercising, I'm using the sauna because my body has been able to get rid of enough of those chemicals to where it can
Thrive.
it's like I have a healthy
Yeah.
baseline
You,
now.
you, you,
Yeah.
by having the implants out, is it's essentially a cold turkey scenario, isn't it? Your body went through cold turkey, and it's responding to that, and it just shows you how your body had become reliant on those toxins to even just get by every day.
Well, and I think what happens is eventually your system gets
Yeah, and that's
overloaded,
when
right?
illnesses
Like
start to
they even
occur.
have warning signs. Oh yeah, because your
Yeah,
liver's maxed out. Like your adrenal glands are
yeah,
going crazy. And I mean they even have signs on saunas, like in the UK, that says if you have breast implants,
yeah,
don't go in the
yeah,
sauna. Because what happens is your body is going to start breaking down those
yeah.
breast implants. And people don't realize that. But yeah, I mean, I am a huge advocate for natural beauty now. I don't do Botox or fillers or any of that shit because after having gone through that, I will never, ever, ever put anything like that in my body ever
Yeah,
again.
wow, wow, wow. So that was so you obviously recovered from that quite well. You've learned more about your body. You've gone quite. You're giving the body the nutrients and filling it for the deficiencies that you may have. You just fill in and living a nice healthy life. I love that. That's fantastic.
And I love my boobs now. They're great. I got a lift. I'm happy with
Good.
them. You know, like they're awesome. They're little boobies. I'm happy.
Don't know how to respond to that, so I'm just going to just carry on.
Yay, little boobies. Yeah. That's how you do it,
Yeah, I'm not
Andrew.
going to do that.
Yeah, itty bitty titty
Someone
committee.
will just edit that and cancel me because I've just said that.
Boobies.
Funny. I'll leave that for you. This day and age, you get pulled up on everything, so I might just swerve that one. The yeah. Before I come to my final questions, you also mentioned that I did want to touch on, if that's okay with you, if you're comfortable. You went through another difficult scenario in this modern world we probably wouldn't have faced many years ago. You met another gentleman. Obviously, we won't mention names, but another gentleman that was obviously that insecure in his having a beautiful partner that he had to do something that when I share my journey of the workplace bullying, I always feel that other people think people don't do that to people. Are you crazy? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you feel the same
Yeah.
because you don't come across, but it exists. It happens. It happens quite a lot. We just don't necessarily know about it. You went through a difficult time with what he was doing behind the scenes, which blew my mind when you first told me. Just quickly explain that to me. What you went through there.
Yeah. He he was, bless his heart, he was a beautiful
Hmm.
writer. He was very talented, very deep, very we met on a beach. It was a whole thing. And it was very, very romantic. And he like wrote a poem. He wrote, I'm sorry, not a poem. He wrote a sonnet about me,
Wow.
okay? And he made me feel so beautiful and he was so deep and he was so intelligent. But he had multiple personality disorder and depression, and he had a lot of mental health issues that were not officially diagnosed, and he self-medicated with drugs and alcohol. And we were young at the time. I was 29, he was 25, 24. He was a younger man. And yeah, basically, we dated off and on for like a year, but towards the end of the relationship, his mental health was not the best, and he had developed or he had created a different Instagram account, and he was bullying me on my modeling account, and he was, like saying horrible things, and I would go to him and I would say, "Hey, like I have this troll on my account, and I don't understand why they're being so mean. Where they like the dog, hey." Come here, come
He's
here,
fine. Don't
come
worry.
here. He's like, I want to. Well, he's doing the tappy
Oh,
tap thing on the door. Come here. So Yes. So he, developed this fake account. He was trolling me, and I would go to him and I'm like, I don't understand why this account is being so mean to me. And he's like, I know that's terrible that they're talking to you that way. And when we broke up, because of his mental health issues, he tried to like turn my friends against me. And I don't label people, but I think his mental health issues definitely had him. He had narcissistic tendencies, and he tried to turn everyone against me, and he was lying, and just all these things. Anyway, in one of his manic episodes, he accidentally messaged
I
me
was about to ask, yeah.
from, yeah, he accidentally messaged me as him from the fake account because I kept blocking him on everything. Yeah. And he didn't realize that he had done it, obviously, because he was in a manic episode. And I was like, oh my God, the troll account was actually my boyfriend at the time. And then I went on to discover that he had been writing erotic novels about my life because he was a writer and he was making money off Amazon. He had been taking my story and my experiences that I told him about, like my past experiences, the people in my life, my exes, and he was writing erotic novels about me and about my life and selling them on Amazon under a ghostwriter name.
Fuck me.
So I was his muse, which
It was like Julia
yeah.
Roberts, remember the movie Sleeping with the Enemy? It's kind of like that.
Yeah. Have you seen You?
No. Oh, yes, on Netflix series. Yeah.
Yes. Do you know
I've not
Beck?
watched it for a very long time.
Okay, so Beck was the first blonde girl that he murders, that he meets in the store or whatever. He becomes obsessed with her and he murders her. I feel like if at that time I was actually living in England, which is where I met him, if I was living in England, I totally might have ended up murdered.
When you first saw that message, like, did you go to him straight away and go, "What the fuck," or did you sit on it and just,
Oh no, 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 no.
why?
No, I mean, I had him blocked on everything. He was emailing me photos of Narcissus and it was a whole thing. And I just saw it and I didn't want to talk to him. That's the thing is like I knew that he wasn't stable enough for me to communicate with regarding that. And his one of his best friends who I was in contact with, I shared it with her because he had been lying to her about the situation and I shared it with her and she called him out on it and she had been his best friend since like childhood and she shared the screenshots with him and was like, "What the fuck?" And they had talked every day since they were kids, and he just ghosted her for 2 years.
So did you just leave though immediately and not even give him? Yeah, yeah, good choice. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't. So we were long
Oh,
distance at
right.
this time. I wasn't living in
Got you.
England. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was in the States at this time whenever all this went down. So, yeah, no, I haven't spoken to him since. He did. Then when I said I've had exes come back into my vibration since I've been up leveling, he's not on Instagram. And whenever I see a fake account following me on Instagram, I always block it because I always assume it's like someone toxic from my past, and they don't need to be lurking in my
Yeah.
energy. I don't care. And I'm not performing for anyone. I'm not showing anybody I'm not like performing on my
Yeah.
Instagram for anyone. And I don't want to feel like I am, so I just block any accounts that I feel like could be an ex-boyfriend or could be an ex-person. And so he actually created like a ghost account but with his name because he wanted me to know it was him, and watched some of my stories like a month ago out of nowhere. It's been like three
Eerie. It's
years.
eerie.
No,
It's
four
eerie.
years.
Ugh.
Yeah. And I saw it and I was like, oh shit. And I didn't respond because here's the thing. Alexis, my character, the past version of me, definitely would have replied. I would have been like, oh my God, it's been like three
How are you?
years. How are you? Are you
Yeah. Yeah.
okay? Yeah. And I'm like, what is the point? What is the point of that? Like, I've had exes, even just 2 days ago, I had an ex-boyfriend, different one, come into play and start watching my Instagram stories and trying to, like, poke me and, like, get my attention and, like, see if I'll respond. And I thought to myself, my present and my future, I don't want it to look anything like my past. And so, if I were to engage with that energy, that would be showing the universe or energetic frequency that I am still open to that
Yeah.
vibration. And so I am choosing to not engage because I don't want to show any sort of energetic anything that is what I want still. So I'm even though I was tempted, I was like, no, 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 girl. Like, you're not going to reply. You're just going to let it be. And then he went away. And the other guy, and I mean, I did block some of them, but they just went away, and I don't have to deal with it, you know? And I'm not going to respond. I don't care if they send me paragraphs. I'm not going to reply, because that's a part of the past. It's not what we're calling in now.
Love it.
And so, nope, no evil temptresses for me.
Brilliant. Well, on that note, we can see that full circle, and we can see very clearly one where your purpose is, which you'll give me a one-liner in a moment, but where you tie us back to the last 4 years of why you do what you do. And I know you've had some difficult moments in this, but like you said before, you clearly had to go through all of this to get to where you are now and have that 10 mindset, that 8, 9, 10 mindset of where you're sitting. But be creatively amazing. You are super intelligent. You won't be able to do this if you weren't doing what you're doing, right? You know what I'm saying? So on that note, you clearly have clear visions going forward. And one of my 3 final questions, what are your future plans for Alexis and the businesses going forward?
Honestly, to keep networking. I'm in this place where I trust my divine abilities, and I trust what I've learned and who I am enough to be able to go into any business, any relationship with anyone and say, I know how I can provide value here. And I'm at this place where I just want to network and connect with incredible people and help in any way that I can. So for me, it's not about, it's just about building safety and security for myself in the physical reality, but also with connecting with incredible people and helping make this world a better place together.
You've given beautiful pieces of gems throughout this episode, but I always ask the guest to put, if somebody could relate to our conversation today and the many topics and things you've been through in positive and negative, what general powerful piece of advice could you give to those listening? If somebody needs to start fresh right now with a brand new pivotal moment in their life, what just general piece, it doesn't have to be long. Where would you start? Where would you begin with?
Don't over-identify with your past, and don't put too much emphasis on your perceived value or lack of value in your present state, and do your best to just every single day realize how incredible it is to be alive. Even if it's just in this moment right now, listening to this podcast, breathing in the air, and just remembering that you're not alone in this human experience. And the only purpose that you have is to enjoy this moment. That's it. Anything outside of that is noise. Being present in the moment. Absolutely. I feel like we've gone so far. I feel like everyone's so far away from being in the present. It's untrue at the moment, but there we go. It's very crystal clear what your purpose is, Alexis, but I always ask the guest to put it into one powerful line. And I feel like it's just a beautiful way to finish off. What would be your purpose? Helping people remember who they are before the world told them who they should be. Oh. Wow, that's powerful. Perfect way to end. Alexis, it's been absolutely amazing having you on my journey, being part of my community now, my platform of Leading Our Own Way. It's our community, and I know we will help so many people. You're doing it in your way, I'm doing it in my way. We're both leading our own way, and we've come together on this magical journey. So thank you so much for giving up your Saturday evening in Denver, Colorado. I appreciate your time. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, Andrew, and what you're doing is absolutely incredible. And thanks for letting me be a part of it. It was an absolute honor. The pleasure was all mine. Thank you again. Well, to everybody else who's tuning in, you might catch me on Alexis' podcast as well. Oh, here he is, Patrick. I'm still trying to get used to saying. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in again. From Alexis and myself. Have a great weekend. Have a great week. Make sure you come back for another amazing guest next week and their incredible journey. But until then, keep leading your own way. We'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye for now. Wow, what a journey. Alexis Boyett just reminded us that we're not bound by our past, our family legacy, or the characters others expect us to play.
We get to choose, right? Always comes back to choices on this podcast. That's the word. If I could put it into one, I think choices would be it. We definitely get to swim upstream, right? We get to remember who we really are. If our chat today, or our conversation this episode hit you like it hit me, there was a new perspective that I've actually been teaching children that she's really got me to reframe some of the things and how I share. And that will make sense. If you missed it, go back. But please, it hit me. So please share with somebody who needs to hear it. And hey, please leave a review. It helps me find more people that might need these stories. Thanks for walking this road with us. Thanks for joining me on my platform, Leading Our Own Way. Until next time, have a great weekend. Make sure you come back next week for another amazing guest, and keep leading your own way. We'll see you then. Bye for now. Thanks for listening and watching Leading Our Own Way. So we can stay together forever and share more incredible journeys, please subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss next week's episode and what that amazing guest has to offer to the world. Please support Leading Our Own Way, and we'll get you on next week's episode.